Did 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13 work for the Laplacian? Did it fix it?
For inflation in this month's or this meeting's economic projections has been revised up significantly for 2021, but barely moved for 2022 and 2023. You've said you expect inflation to fall significantly. Is that because you're going to raise interest rates, or because the virus is going to fade and the effects are going to fade? In other words, is it a question of
That'll be
when,
great for Pfizer's
not if
long-term
you
money.
raise interest rates?
Why'd you put money in it now if
Does
you
it
weren't going to
suggest
go
that
T5?
maybe your critics are correct and you might be afraid you're behind the curve?
This is why, people.
Actually,
You need a wrench,
I'm
you're lucky
looking
it
at
was
the
him,
SEP here,
because he'll
and
taper
the
it down
media
on you.
forecasts
I'd have talked
for
some shit to
core
you the
and
whole
headline
way, and believe
inflation
me,
did
if you
move
sent
up
me, I'd
by
tear your ass a new
0.4
one about
each.
math.
So that's a significant, in an SEP, that's a pretty significant move up.
A part of it.
It's based on
Turned
both
into
of those
World War
things,
II by. Now I can't.
do think,
Like the Powell again. The answer becomes, when I get
there's
into
a
your
broad
office and some of you
expectation
guys are like this,
forecasters, including
what you'll be
our
doing
own,
is the
that
propaganda from the media
bottlenecks
standpoint that
will
leads to World War II,
sometime
which
over the
allows
course of
some of
this
those
year. If you look
secondary
at where blue
officers,
chip
which are in those
forecasts
really
are,
shitty
which
dicks
is they
kind
have
of
a group of,
spots, where it makes some of you
well-resourced,
marshmallows on the
large
45 with the
forecasting
up,
operations with a long track
down.
they'll
Pretty
show
good
inflation
marshmallows. Guess
coming
what
back
happens to
down,
you? Either you're
significantly
going to wind
toward
up
the
in the
back end of next year.
military as an officer,
I
eminent domain when it comes around to
would
you,
say, though, as well,
because
that our
that is
policy should begin to
history.
have an
We
effect. There will be a
use
lag,
these
but it should
diagrams.
begin to
People
have an
hear it
effect on
because
that
you're supposed
as
to
well.
listen to it. However, they did whatever they
and,
did is by virtue of understanding
that's the
that
most likely case. I guess what
people all got good with
thing
at
I would
least the
wanna
math
say,
that
though,
makes it
is,
work for them.
we can't act as though that's
Got it
a
up
certainty,
there.
and we're not going to act as though that's a certainty. There's a real risk now, I believe, that inflation may be more persistent.
I mean, at the end of
and
it,
that
like
may
I
be
said, you
putting
just make them
inflation
think whatever they want.
expectations
Hey,
under pressure, and that
if
the
I can
risk
artificially
of
change
higher
those
inflation
numbers,
becoming
unless they're
entrenched has
independently
increased. It's
hubbed from
certainly
a source,
increased.
let's
I don't
talk
think
about it,
it's
Wall
high
Street.
at this moment, but I
It's
think
a
increased.
last stronghold
And I
on
think
what
that's
it does.
part of the
If
reason
it
behind
would be
our
designed like
move
that, it's a
today,
nuclear
is to put
football where
ourselves in a
you need a
position
Fed
to
or
be
a
able to deal with
Treasury
that
to be
risk.
like, look,
And I
this
think we
is
are in a
war
position to
outside.
deal with that
They
risk.
are criminally
We need to see
going
more
at
data. We
this.
need to
I
see
will
how
be
the
more
inflation
than
data and
willing
the-
to
and all the
put
data
it out there
evolve,
on CN
for
for
incoming
everybody to
months.
see, because
But,
we don't like when you
but
do
we are
this.
prepared
This
to,
kind of version of it would be benevolent, and
use
we're
our
going to take
tools
some
to
of the
make
ones
sure
that
higher
usually are
inflation
prime bitchers,
doesn't get
and I'm going to
entrenched.
show them. I'll be
For
like,
one
can you
reason,
mull
as
over this
I
for
just
me?
mentioned,
I didn't
it's
think it was right.
one of the two
Am I
big
not
threats, the
doing
other
something
being
in
the pandemic
science, Lou,
itself,
that I need to
getting
know?
back to maximum employment.
Obviously. And you take it to somebody who does, and you ask the question in the mail, and there you go, you get an answer. Yeah, you burned a lot of time, it didn't really get anything done, but nobody kicked your ribs in because you asked the right question. You probably would have got your shit kicked in if you just put it on the pallet and just didn't care and it was wrong, and better to get the right answer. So let's go back to those diagrams. If you find yourself in one of those diagrams, or at least it looks like through the optics on the other side of this, that I have to ask the question, first contact, direct information, or direct confirmation, right, Sarge? You're going to be with you and the girlfriend at 9 o'clock with the thing. And every once in a while we had to be careful. I mean, we're watching the Bunny Smasher happens. Jim's got to dance. Yeah, he's got to dance. His ass is a fucking dancing cow. And he would be, but that's about the bowl of that farm over there where you're going to say, well, I mean, in a situation like this where you want to make boats for everybody, the answers are simple enough. Here's a diagram. I'm from the Fed. That's what we're going to do. Shorty, you giving me a better index. It doesn't correlate to the moral contract deflate in that market or whatever ethics committee, AI program you got. But at that point in time, at some of these pinnacles up here, you can't just assume that yours would have been the biggest when the push on that machine would have been military bases, putting it together, hub project, blue book, to at least get it to some kind of point to where that is. And then the hardness of, well, what got you started on your inverted square, wind talker, Elon, to get to where before you can understand the eschatology of why some of those mountains with the 45 still hold platform, right? Dropping gears, moving things, keeping it low, sucking down the money, holding stocks, making the numbers do for that reason. and it keeps them down, and you would manage your mountain more correctly. It's like, well, maybe there's a range, it's just like I allow a little bear to pop out up there. It looks like a little triangle. If people are right out there, they carve out what they can get out of it, and that's about as big as I allow them to get. Otherwise, I'll just hit this sell button a couple of times, and I know that their team over there ain't got the weights and plates to take what the company would have down, because after the product line on the floor, anything above this would be the management team. Obviously, we want our economics people to be able to do the most efficient job as possible. But me, I'm not a mechanic. $150 or something that might take them 1 hour on the game, come in town later around, and I can't give them any shit about it either. If I didn't do it, that's a day and a half of labor for me working in the mill. But it's also probably a full day's worth of busting my knuckles, bitching and blowing, doing it across the board, but they're going to get it done in 1 hour, 2 hours maybe, right? And the book mechanics on that, the books are service times on that. Do I know what that is? Do I have to go out there right now and look that up? It's supposed to have an honest contract. That's what that represents. I'm a moo cow in town. I have to buy my own food. The boss doesn't do that. We do not have an infinite Little Caesars box for pizza. We don't have a company that does that. They hand me a paycheck out of that I take down there. I get lunch. I put gas in my car. I have my car fixed. Now, I could personally do that, or I could stay at that end of the day or whenever on the weekend when I have to thermodynamics my vehicle or my house or anything else like that. That inside of there, that there's some commonalities with some of the things involved with what's the right answer there, but opposing a fair competition for what it is we do here, and also selective breeding to a little bit of Tucker down here about, look, we're not just going to let some exclusionary. That's the math. You're not following what a vote by that will do. Now, later on, if you want to re-vote for that, that's why we had rules and systems and things that nobody now are paying attention to, or somebody's cheating on this, and you can't be dovish about this.